All right, let's start with the indexes and we can see what we got going on here. So we see this rising wedge that broke down. Okay, we have 1 day up. 1 day is not, I mean, we did have a huge run up into the close. I wasn't expecting it, but again, this is the market, so guess what? What you don't expect is typically going to happen. But as far as SPY, to me, until it gets back above this area right here, it's not strong. It's not strong yet. We need to see if there's follow through or if this is just a flag for some more downside. If you look at the weekly, you can see that you have potentially some type of trend line support here. But if it breaks, I mean, this was a big candle last week. Big candle, engulfing pattern. So we need to see if, again, you don't want to be caught. Again, we know it's only Monday, but the charts are the charts. So this candle is not yet completed yet, but you don't want to be going long here because then you say, what's the immediate trend? Now, the pullback isn't as bad as it seems. So the pullback was basically what, almost 4%. So it's not huge, but again, it did break down. And again, we've been talking about this churning action, and we're going to say it's going to resolve itself either one way or the other, and it resolved itself to the downside. So with that one, push in the evening after 12:30, I'm not going to let that blind me to what's going on with the daily time frame. And if you're talking about intraday, okay, you're going to play that move and you're going to make money. But if you're talking about swing trading and looking at direction, it's not immediately to go in bullish. I mean, to me, if it had got at least 50% or a close 50% in this candle to the upside, then I would be like, okay, maybe we could probably, or a little higher, maybe we could get some type of morning star type of candlestick pattern to say it's going to reverse and go. But again, this volume is not really, I want to see what happens next couple of days, if it's going to churn up and the volume is going to die down, because then that means that there's right picking if it doesn't get below here to continue to the downside. QQQ, again, this looks a little bit stronger. It's right between the 10 and the 50 days, so it didn't even get to the 50 days. So this one looks a little bit better. It doesn't look as bearish as the other stuff, but still has engulfing, and it could have some retracement. But excuse me, we want to see what happens over the next couple of days. If this goes up with strong volume and even could break out, I would say this area per se, or recapture that 10-day moving average, and kind of just go from there. So that to me is the go from there. The Dow Jones does not look strong at all. I mean, this needs to get out of its way regarding, it needs to get up here. It needs to get that back up to that 169 level. This is not bullish. But again, this is not really a sector that you should be really following that diligently. Most of the, this is your grandmother calls you, says, oh, the market's down. She's looking at the Dow. It's only 30 components. So you want to look at the SPY and stuff like that. But also look at the IWM. IWM still is not giving me, warm and fuzzies, because again, it needs to get back above these levels. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get up there. And yes, you could say, okay, you have a nice reversal on the intraday time frame. If you're looking at like a 30-minute, you can say, listen, it went up and closed up strong. But yeah, it needs to get back above these levels. Okay, and you can see it from here. It needs to get back above these levels because currently the trend is down. That's what it's called, down. It's fine, but it's right here, right now, it's down. You have lower highs and lower lows. So don't let one afternoon rally blind you from what's happening, And if you're intraday, you're like, listen, I don't really care that much. I just want some movement. But I do want to make sure I'm not fighting the trend. But maybe your trend that you're looking at is not the daily. Maybe it's like a 60 or 30 or whatever. But just keep these things in mind. Priceline shot up. I definitely didn't, it definitely probably was one of the things that really moved. I mean, it moved up almost 5% today. And of course, once you get days like this, of course, you get the dick that's like, man, I bought 40 calls at 60 cents at the open. It's just, again, ignore those people, but you have some nice strong volume and you have the momentum that's kind of going up as well, so that looks good. I really like this Facebook trade, actually. Looking, it came, filled the gap and made a higher low, so I definitely would like to see if it could continue the upside and break these highs. But I like this trade. I like this trade actually a lot. Apple, Apple, I'm not sure where it's going to go. Again, I would look, again, my entry would be above this high of this day. So it never broke above this high. So again, my last entry on this one was basically around this area right here. And it broke up and got a little scary, but then it continued all the way to the upside. Okay, there was also another one right here that was the dip to buy, and it went up and hit my target as well. So we got to see what's going on. But again, to look at the price action, to be fair, remember, these are the things that you don't use for one thing and use the other. You're starting to get some type of churn where it's not making new highs when it breaks the new highs. Like it's coming back in and pretty much rolling back into this previous high versus getting on top of it and bouncing back up. So we got to see how this price action works out and goes from there. We got Google. Just have to see where it goes from here. I mean, it's off the 50. Maybe you want to trade this. Maybe it's not giving you as much risk as you, or whatever risk you feel comfortable with. So you're going to risk about, let's say around $10. So let's say $5 per contract if you're using a 50 delta. And you just got to be careful of what the dip you're going to buy. So just be cautious with this. Again, we do want to see this price action resolve itself. Twitter, I heard a lot about, and again, some people are playing it to the downside for the gap fill to try to get it all the way down here. Some people are just waiting for it to give a higher low because, again, it gives me similar pattern to what happened with Facebook. And it doesn't have to come and fill this gap. People see these gaps and they're like, oh, a gap. I'm like, well, what part of the trend is it in? Because if it's in a strong part, gaps are going to happen all the damn time. So just be cautious about just a gap scaring you because you could miss out on a lot. LinkedIn, I would want to pull back, quite honestly. I don't want to trade this all the way up here, especially this could be some type of exhaustion. You can see the volume tapered off. So again, if you got in here and maybe you got shaken or scared out a little bit from this candle, but that's the trade to me versus chasing it all the way up there. I'm not chasing shit like that. It's just really annoying. Expedia, this one again, kind of just have to see where it goes from there because this one capitulated and then gapped up hard. So think about this price action, which is pretty interesting when you look at it. This is the day that it pretty much went down. It gapped all the way up and took out everything, came up. So this is very bullish. But again, I will want a better setup because it is coming from a churning thing, but it's resolving itself. So let's see if we can get some type of pullback, maybe to this level or just a small 1, 2, 3 bar pullback and then give us a higher low that we could trade off of. So again, I'm going over my time, but figure it's just important. Again, we got to see how this stuff plays out and don't let just one day, if you're looking to swing trade stuff, don't let just one day make it that you get bullish. You see one green candle. It's not on any time frame. It doesn't matter if this is a 5 minute. One green candle shouldn't get you bullish or immediately. So let's keep that in mind and see where this goes. Take care.